Hello YouTube, it has been a little while since I came on. Hello, my name is Charlotte and I am a portrait artist or an artist of the human body. I am a UK based artist, but this video has absolutely nothing to do with that. This video is actually all about Japan. It's a little country you might know of across the waters from the UK here. However, it's magical. I don't think there's any other way that I can possibly describe this place. We were lucky enough to go for a 3-week holiday there, and I wanted to share my experience with yourselves in a mini Japanese series to kickstart my YouTube for 2025. So come with me as I share with you my top tips, my recommended places, as well as the journey that we took. If anyone describes Japan to you as a place that's good, it's got good food, it's got good culture, rich history, that people are lovely, they ignore them. Trust me, ignore them. They are underselling you Japan because they want it for themselves. Japan was a wonderful experience from start to finish. We flew into Tokyo Haneda Airport and spent several days in Tokyo exploring. Tokyo, despite it being a major city, the major city in Japan, it was so clean, spotless. Even going down the street, just walking, I think we went for a walk at like 10 o'clock at night at one point. It was quiet. There was traffic, sure, but there wasn't loads of people screaming and shouting, and it was just a wonderful time of night. At Tokyo itself, we explored several places. You have to, it's Tokyo. If you're going to do Tokyo, you've got to do Tokyo. Admittedly, we were there at the best time of year, not because of the cherry blossoms, but because we got to say hello to the emperor himself. There's only 2 times a year that the Imperial Palace opens its doors, and not just the garden. We're talking the palace grounds. That is, I believe, New Year's Day, and correct me if I'm wrong on that, but also the emperor's birthday. We definitely went there on New Year's, so we got to celebrate the emperor's birthday with him. It was cordial, it was polite, we got to wave our Japanese flags, and it was just wonderful to see another ruler of a country, part ruler, another monarchy basically, and see the way that they speak to their people. And the emperor and his family were kind and courteous. They were 10 meters away from us. They all waved, they all smiled and looked around at the individual faces. And that was something really special, especially on our first full day. We landed in Tokyo less than 24 hours earlier, and there we were saying hello to the emperor on his birthday. Crazy, hey? If you're in Japan, especially around late February, early March, you might think, I've lost it for the blossom season. I think we got the best time for the blossom season. At the Emperor's Palace, at the Imperial Grounds, there was a blossom tree in full bloom. We explored further around the grounds, and there on Plum Tree Hill, all the blossoms were coming out. Yes, they weren't in full bloom. They weren't like or hello, we're here. But the individual buds were coming out, and you could see the tree beginning to fulfill its colour. It's beginning to fulfill the life of a blossom tree in spring. And that, again, is a really special moment. You're seeing spring. And you're seeing spring come into action with the wildlife as well. All the birds coming to eat the little grubs. All wildlife that springs into action because it's spring. And we ended up talking to some Australians, some New Zealanders, my apologies, I know you are different, and saying to go there because they were talking about the Imperial Palace, and one of them was like, is it really that good? So before I disembarked the train, I was like, it's worth it, trust me. The blossoms are out. And then she was convinced. Tokyo's a massive city, right? You'd think, there's not going to be much history there. Wrong. Never say that about anywhere in Japan. We walked, again, on our first full day, we managed to find the biggest, or just appear at, the biggest temple in Tokyo. In that day, I think we found 5 other temples. Okay, not as big, not as public, but literally turn a corner, there's probably a temple down that street. And it really showed us the respect that a lot of the people had. Yes, this big one was a tourist trap. There was loads going on. There were food stalls. It was because blossom season was starting. It was also strawberry season, which they are very big on over there. So if you want proper strawberry anything, head to Japan, right? But these temples, you would see people go up to them and pray. And they wouldn't be let into the main areas, but they would always pray at the gates. And you could see who was there that day to go, no, I need this. And through all of that, we ended up looking into, because there's a lot of Buddhist and there's a lot of Shinto. And the crux of what I remember of Shinto is that basically each thing in life you take as beautiful, and you cherish the moments that you have. And those hard times, you don't necessarily pray to a deity, but you look for the better in the future. It's nothing about planning ahead loads. It's definitely more living in the moment. And it's something that really resonated with us. Generally, we're not religious people, myself and my husband, who I went on this trip with, but it really resonated with us because of a lot of things that are going on for us at the moment. And that meant that we felt like we could be, and this is complete personal experience, but just that little bit more respectful of the area, because we kind of got it, rather than just coming through going, that's a cool temple, walking away. We did end up sitting at quite a few and just having a quiet moment, discussing life, looking around, enjoying the birds. And it made us live in the moment. Okay, enough about Tokyo. Do the towers, do the Imperial Palace, do all the food. All of it. They have some really strange food in Japan, admittedly. I thought, yes, sushi, we're talking udon, we're talking ramen. They have all that, but they also have a lot of French. They have a lot of Italian, and they also have a lot of mixed. So there's an Italian place, you're like, okay, cool. But then it's like shrimp and avocado with rice in your Italian place. And you're like, what? I did feel a little bit attacked at one point because one thing said really popular with women, and I chose that exact dish. Can confirm it was fantastic. So they knew their market audience. But overall, it's amazing. Everything is fresh. literally everything. We went KFC, we went McDonald's, we went Wendy's. They have them. They're not living in the 12th century. They're living in the 21st century. And it was all fresh. We're talking fresh chicken. We're talking that lettuce probably was picked yesterday and it feels crunchy. It feels like it was picked yesterday. And even down to the fish, like you go to a fresh fish market and you're looking around and these crabs are alive. They have glass on top because they're still trying to pinch. And you're like, what? What is happening? We did wander through one fresh fish market. Fresh fish. Try to say that quickly. Fresh fish. And it was just amazing. There was so much different fish. And you could also see the different types of packing. So some places had them still in the water, still oxygenating the water. Some of them had them on ice, in boxes, just like iced boxes with glass on top. Some you could tell were gone. So they didn't have that glass on top. Like some you could get freshly boiled there. These are all crabs, let alone the fish. Like people were wheeling huge boxes around because it's like, right, I've got a restaurant, I need to get my fish for the day. And I don't think you can get as fresh as that. And I do sometimes think in the UK, like, when was this fish caught? Has it been frozen a little bit? That kind of thing. But undoubtedly, everything in Japan was fresh. Crispy fresh. I kind of miss it. One thing I will advise you to do in Japan is go up any and all towers that there are. I think we visited about 7. There was definitely one every few days. We had Chiba Tower, Tokyo Tower, Tokyo Sky Tree. There was a random prefectural tower that we went up. I think we had Kariyama Tower at one point. And there was a couple of others. I want to say Kyoto Tower. 6. Who's counting now? And there was probably a tower at Fukuoka, which is where we also went. So these give you fantastic views. Obviously they're towers, but they're also open normally from about 9 AM to roughly 11 PM. So it gives you the opportunity to go up at any point in the day and experience what the area is like. And it's a really cool bird's eye view almost. Okay, not all the way through, but you can watch people at the bottom. In each of these, we mainly went up during the day. That's just because of the time that we were there. But there were a couple where we went up during dusk and a couple that we went up just slightly later than that. And this gives you a fantastic view of the cities, of the areas, coming alive at night and coming alive in a way that you perhaps didn't expect. Yeah, you might drive around after work and be like, oh, I'm stuck in traffic. But it's completely different experiencing that from above, looking down to be like, oh yeah, there's a buildup of traffic there. And then you can see people going onto an expressway. So in the UK here, we have our motorways. In America, they're freeways. And in Tokyo, well, all across Japan, they are expressways. I believe they're normally tolled. We saw a lot of toll bridges and a lot of toll stations to get on and off of these. And it makes sense because, you know, you're flying above all the rest of the traffic. And there's a lot of maintenance that is involved because they are somewhat in the air. But it just made everything seem so much sense. Especially when looking from these towers. And the towers all have stamps. If you go to Japan, get a stamp book, please do. I lost count the number of stamps, mainly at the towers. They're called Eki stamps. Eki stamps are generally in the train stations, because Eki is train, I think. and it originated from there. And there's even sometimes trails that you can follow to get the layers of the stamp or to collect enough stamps to win something. And they were so engaging, they were so fun to keep an eye out of, and it meant that we did do a couple of bits twice because I was like, where's the stamp? There is a stamp. I've researched that there's a stamp. Where's the stamp? And it was really entertaining. I think some of them I did try and fight some kids off because I wanted the stamp. But take a book. I promise you, you will not regret it. I ended up buying a book out there because I bought a book, but it didn't work for what I wanted it to work. And yeah. So if you don't remember one, don't worry, you'll have the opportunity to. So not only are there towers, but also remember things on ground level. We ended up visiting loads of aquariums, and it's something in the UK and the US, it's a little bit like, oh, okay. Because in the UK, a lot of aquariums are run by sort of the same overarching company, of my knowledge. And in America, obviously the SeaWorld thing got a bit touchy a few years ago. So we kind of took them with a pinch of salt. However, each and every one of them was fantastic. We even went to a zoo, and in every single one of these places there was enough room for the animals and enough room for people, and everything could explore. And it was wonderful. There were penguins in one of them that were having proper swim arounds. Sometimes you see penguins and they're a little bit like just huddled in the background and just like, oh. But these penguins were trying to fight with a cable because their tank had just been cleaned and one of them was trying to run away with it. It was just so entertaining. Another one, we got to see a baby dolphin. You heard me right, a baby dolphin. It was so cute. I literally just stood there for 10 minutes going, oh my god, look at him, look at the baby. It was just so magical, and in each of the circumstances there are a lot of learning opportunities, and you can see the kids probably getting involved. Even as adults, we're in our 20s, we were probably getting involved in these little activities as well. And there's stamps. Not all of them, I will admit, but there are stamps. It just made everything just so special because they had a completely different layout to their aquariums and a different approach to them as well. A lot of them had different breeding programs. So one of them was looking at the breeding program of some of the weird and wonderful creatures. Some of them were looking at breeding programs for jellyfish and the things they eat and things like that. And you could see tiny baby jellyfish that literally were days old, or algae that they were trying to replicate, the good stuff that things eat. And you could see everyone engaging with these activities. And you know what? You could look into the tanks without a piece of glass on top. It's such a high trust society that people are leaving their bags and they'll just come back to it a few minutes later after they've been to the toilet. Like some kids even got the train by themselves. And it's like, you're like 6 years old. What? Talking about trains though, oh my gosh. I'm going to do a separate video on trains because they are wonderful. If you go to Japan, take the train. You don't need to find a car, especially if you're avid walkers, because your whole thing can be done via train. We ended up using a Fukuoka card, so it was like an Oyster card in the UK where you can buzz in and out, and it was just on our phones. It made travelling so easy and it made the days so much better because we could just hop on and off where we needed to. The signage was absolutely clear, and it meant that when we took the Shinkansen, a lot of the stress was taken away. We just had to worry about getting our suitcases on and off because those things got heavy. Before I make this video way too long, I will give you the lowdown of what we did. I'll give you my top 5 places to visit and my top 5 tips. So we started in Tokyo. We landed in Tokyo Haneda and then stayed in Tokyo, stayed there for about 5 days. We then travelled all the way to Fukuoka and we stayed there, I think again for about 5 days. We travelled back towards Tokyo and stayed in Kyoto. I think we stayed there for about 8 days, longer than a week, that's for sure. And then to treat ourselves, we stayed up in the wonderful Kanazawa. Kanazawa is where all the hot springs are and is often a ski resort destination area. And then last but not least, we travelled all the way back to Tokyo for our last full day and then for our flight home. The reason why we chose these places were multiple reasons. We wanted to see kind of as much of the country as we could. These destinations were also major points on Shinkansen stops, or Shinkansen lines, my apologies. And it meant that we could sort of take a train out to any other places that we wanted to go while we stayed there. And it just so happened that we visited Kagoshima and saw a beautiful, it's not a mountain, volcano, beautiful volcano, which is still active. I would highly recommend. We also went to Hiroshima. We ended up going to Osaka from Kyoto. If you want history, Kyoto is your place. Traditionalism is at the core of everything. And then Kanazawa, that journey was incredible and it was full of hot springs. We even had one in our hotel, especially for us. Okay, maybe not myself and my husband, but for the guests. And then, as I say, back to Tokyo, where we explored for a day. So my top 5 places. I would just name the cities that we went to, but I think that's cheating. So these are the ones that come to mind. I'm doing this without script, without properly remembering everywhere we went because it's all so wonderful. However, Tokyo Tower, absolutely do it. You can see all over Tokyo. You can see up to where the boundaries are. Literally, we stood there and we're like, oh, that's the end of Tokyo because there's a mountain there. We were even lucky enough to see Mount Fuji as well while being up there. And apparently at that time of the year, so February, March, it is quite rare because of the cloud. So we were very, very lucky. So, Tokyo Tower. As a place, Hiroshima. It might not be on your list. However, the city is so much more than the bomb. Okay? Hiroshima has grown so much, and we were there while there was a craft event on. So all these locals were there with their handmade gifts, handmade items, and it was so lovely to see something so traditional, as in all the traditional crafts. You got woodworking, ceramics, jewelry, traditional dresswear, everything was there. And it was such a wonderful experience as well to be in the history of it. So there is a very big park, there's a museum, there is I think a cultural centre, lots of fountains, lots of memorials as well for the Hiroshima bombing. But the city is so much more than that, and we really appreciated that interaction with it. Talking about places, I would also advise Kagoshima. So Kagoshima is right down south. We actually took a bullet train from Fukuoka while we were staying there, and it has a volcano next door. This volcano is still active. Obviously, you're in the Ring of Fire because it's Japan. You're in the Ring of Fire. There's no avoiding that. But we were stood on this observatory point after climbing up a huge hill. I think it might have been a mountain. Everyone else took the bus. We walked it. And we were stood there and we just watched it. Puff, smoke, chuff. And there was just a peacefulness about a volcano that we really didn't expect. I also fell in love with this place because that's where the baby dolphin was, and some of my favourite sea creatures as well. Their aquarium was stunning, and we really have unfinished business with it because we didn't get to explore the volcano. We didn't really get to explore outside of the main city, and standing on that observatory point you can see around and you're like, there is so much more here that I want to do. So for myself, I would definitely say Kagoshima because we definitely have unfinished business with it as well. Number 4, Nara Park, hands down. You might have heard about Nara Park if you've been researching Japan and where to go. Nara Park is famous for its deer. They are adorable. They're also butt biters. Yeah, you heard me right. They nibble you if you don't give them food when you've got it in your hand. Don't run away from them, just keep an eye on them, all right? But they are so adorable, and we went when there was a few small ones, a few big ones, but they will have all their horns cut off for safety, and also means that they can't fight with each other, which is kind of nice. However, Nara Park is so big. It goes up a mountain, and there's several, you guessed it, temples. There's also an art gallery, an art museum. I think there's a little history museum there as well. But there's just so much going on in Nara. Again, we explored only a tiny bit of it because we were like, oh, we've got this deer. And we also had a little bit of lunch at the... Did we? I think we snacked. I was going to say we had a little bit of lunch at the gallery, but no, we just snacked. And that's where we found the strawberries, the fresh strawberries. They've been everywhere at this point, but fresh strawberries from Nara, I don't think we could beat that. Last but not least, number 5. Top favourite places I would advise you to go. It's really hard to decide because there's so many good ones. I'm going to say it. Go to Japan. Go to Japan. Absolutely just go to Japan. That is my 5th and final place. Japan itself. The people, the atmosphere, the cities, the countryside, the train system, the food, just everything about Japan. Whatever you do inside it, it's going to be wonderful. But Japan is my 5th and final place. You can't beat it. Corny, yeah, but you've got to be sometimes. So my top 5 tips. Number 1, you don't have to take everything. Trust me, okay? We went with 2 really big suitcases. They were only half full, and we came back with 3 that were very full. We ended up buying loads of clothes, quite a few souvenirs, even a piece of artwork made it through our journey. And it's, you're not going to the middle of nowhere. Okay, you might in Japan, you might hike or you might do something really random. But we were staying in major cities. Our favourite shop is now Uniqlo. Fantastic place. UK, there's one in Oxford. I would definitely go. So, number 1, don't take everything. Number 2, learn your basics in the language. This helped us so much, and the Japanese people were so grateful that we had tried to learn a little bit of their language. So, for example, the numbers 1 and 2. So, ichi, ni. Please. I can't remember. But thank you is arigatou gozaimasu. And you do a little bow with it as well often. So when you say thank you very much, it's arigatou gozaimasu. It's little things like this that make them smile. It makes them really appreciate you as a tourist as well. And it's gotten us out of quite a few situations. Saying that, number 3, download Google Translate. It has helped us so much more than our own language. So not everyone in Japan knows English. It might be very broken English and the translation might not come across clearly. So download Google Translate. It will save your life. And you can also do the Google Lens thing where you can just hover your phone over some text and it will translate it for you directly. It has saved us so much time and energy, especially when you're tired, you've been traveling, and you just want something to eat and you're like, I don't know what this is. Just Google Translate, okay? So we've had, don't take too much, learn some of the language, at least the basics. Download Google Translate. Number 4, this is the way that my husband and I work, but pin stuff on maps. So we ended up using a shared Google map and we pinned basically everything that we wanted to do. Even if it came up during the holiday, we pinned it. And this made planning our days so much easier. So the way we holiday is that we picked the destination, we stayed in Tokyo for 5 days, and then each morning or the evening before we'll go, what's our energy levels? What are we feeling? What's the weather doing? And we would then choose what we wanted to do from there. Obviously, if you need to book something, do that in advance, get that booked in. But for a lot of items, we went to museums, we went to galleries, we did events. We didn't need to book for any of them. And we could go in freely and as we wanted. And a lot of them, as I said, you can come back today, like anytime today. So pin those things. And it also means that if you have planned your trip, it means that if you have a spare afternoon or, something didn't take as long as you think it did, then you can always get your map up, go, oh, what's in this area that we wanted to do, and hit go. It's been such a wonderful way to explore Japan, and it means that we've actually done a little bit more because we're like, oh, we're here and we want to go over there, so we'll just walk it. It's half an hour, and then we came across 3 other things that were really cool to see. Last but not least, tip number 5. Enjoy yourself, relax. It might sound hard, might be like, that's easy, but in a completely different environment, it can get stressful. I know some people aren't the best travellers or they get really worried about things, but the Japanese people are so wonderful. They're very relaxed people, they're very courteous people. They will say thank you at everything. They will make you feel very welcome in the hotel, and they will invite you in like it's their home. To be able to relax is something that I struggle with. To properly relax, that is. And the fact that I was able to really gives testament to what Japan did for me and what Japan is still doing for me. So those top 5 tips, they're kind of unrelated to Japan, but they are. Don't pack too much. You've got stuff there. You've got shopping to do. Number 2 is learn some of the basic language. It will help you so much and put a smile on their faces. Number 3, Google Translate is your friend. Use it and abuse it where you want to. It will help you time, effort, and energy. Number 4, I didn't write these down. I can't remember. Number 5 is relax. Apparently I've relaxed a little bit too much. Oh dear. But I thank you for joining me on my little overview of Japan, of our time there. And I hope you've enjoyed the little clips of information as well. Little dolphin. That dolphin still gets to me. Honestly, so cute. I will be continuing this series as well, so you will see some more information from me, some more holiday clips, and also some more arty stuff. All right, I'll speak to you soon. See you next time. Bye.